Mr. Speaker, the House of Commons erupted this week, but behind the noise, something deeper is happening in Canada, something the Carney-Trudeau Liberals can't spin away anymore. Canada watched as thousands of steel workers were told they're losing their jobs, while the government repeated its usual lines. Thoughts are with them. We have every confidence we'll support them. But here's the truth. Confidence doesn't pay mortgages, support doesn't feed kids, and liberal promises don't protect jobs, they destroy them. This is the Carney government's economic experiment, and Canadians are now the lab rats. The steel collapse, a promise broken. Pierre Poilievre confronted the government with a simple, brutal fact. The Prime Minister promised a deal to protect steel jobs by July 21st. It never happened. Instead, the Liberals piled on higher industrial carbon taxes, even as U.S. tariffs hit the sector. The result? Steel jobs wiped out, Canadian production crippled, and the government pretending everything is fine when Poilievre demanded accountability. The government's response was the same tired script. We're working with leadership, we're supporting workers, we're developing new markets. Empty words, no solutions, and no urgency. The food bank explosion, a country in crisis, then came the bombshell. Food bank use in Ontario is up 165% since this government took power. 8.7 million visits. This is not normal. This is not temporary. This is not economic transition. This is collapse. Poilievre pointed out exactly why. Carbon taxes on farmers, carbon taxes on processors, carbon taxes on the transport of food, a tax on every bite Canadians take. And what did the Carney government do? They attacked Poilievre for not supporting benefits. But here's the problem. Canadians don't want benefits, they want paychecks. They want affordability, not bureaucracy. They want dignity, not dependency. Poilievre is the only one in the chamber saying it out loud. The housing meltdown, Liberal policy. In FREFALL, the government promised to double home building. Instead, new housing starts across Ontario collapsed. 34% drop in missing middle housing, 51% collapse in condo starts, materials becoming unaffordable due to, again, the industrial carbon tax. And while Canadians struggle to find a basement to rent, the Prime Minister hides his wealth in offshore accounts. You cannot make this up. The reality check. What this debate revealed is simple. The Liberals are out of touch. Carney's economic vision is failing, and Pierre Poilievre is the only one confronting them with facts, not fantasies. When Poilievre stands up in the House, he speaks the words millions of Canadians are screaming at their TVs. Stop taxing workers. Stop punishing farmers. Let Canadians afford to live again. The question that Canadians must now ask as this government continues to raise taxes, break promises, and watch the middle class collapse: how much more can Canadians take, and how long until they decide it's time for a government that actually works for them, not against them? This is Red Leaf Politics, cutting through the noise and showing you the truth behind every moment in Ottawa. You've heard the analysis. Now it's time to see the reality. Let's take you inside Parliament, to the exchange everyone is talking about. Pierre Poilievre and Mélanie Joly, uncut, unfiltered. Here is what really happened in the House.
Mr. Speaker, today Algoma announced it's laying off 1,000 steel workers, nearly a third of its workforce in the Soo. Our thoughts are with them. The Prime Minister looked them in the eye and promised he would protect their jobs, that he would negotiate a win, and I quote, have a deal by July 21st, but it was a bait and switch that is costing people their livelihoods. On top of that, Liberals are hammering this steel mill with a higher industrial carbon tax. Isn't it bad enough that the Prime Minister broke his promise on trade? Why is he going ahead with an industrial carbon tax that will kill even more steel jobs?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Obviously, our thoughts are with the workers affected by the unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs imposed by the White House, and we'll continue to work with them as Algoma Steel is going through a difficult situation, to say the least. Mr. Speaker, my team and I have been in contact with Algoma's leadership team. We absolutely have every confidence in the Algoma workers as they're going through this hardship, and we will make sure that we support them as they're developing new products and also accessing new markets. We'll fight for these jobs, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, more promises and more Liberal thoughts will not put food on the table of those out-of-work steelworkers. And they're not alone. The Liberal food cost crisis is growing, according to today's Feed Ontario report, which reveals that Food bank use is up 13% in 1 year and 165% since this Prime Minister became the economic advisor to this Liberal government. 8.7 million Ontario visits in 1 year to the Ontario Food Bank, while this Prime Minister hikes carbon taxes on food production. Why is he driving more people into hunger with higher taxes?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, every step of the way, these Conservatives fight against the supports that Canadian families talk about needing. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, they just asked a question about workers that are facing job losses at Algoma Steel. And yet, Mr. Speaker, when they had a chance to vote for expansion of EI, for easier access, longer duration, and more generous benefits, they voted against it, Mr. Speaker. So how do they in any way have the right to stand up and talk about the needs of Canadians when they stand in the way of the supports that those very Canadians need?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The supports that those Canadians want and need is a paycheck, Mr. Speaker.
Exactly.
And they want to be able to afford food. They should be able. In a country with this much farmland and this much wealth, our people should be able to eat. But according to the latest report by Feed Ontario, there's been a 165% increase in food bank use in Ontario alone since this Prime Minister joined this government, yet he wants to go ahead with an industrial carbon tax on farm equipment, food processors, and fertilizer that will drive up the cost of food. Why does he get fat on his tax havens while he taxes people?
Mr. Speaker, it's amazing to hear the Leader of the Opposition, because the first thing we did is to make sure that Canadians would have more money in their pocket, Mr. Speaker. We, in fact, reduced taxes for Canadians, 22 million Canadians. But you know what, Mr. Speaker, what's most disturbing for Canadians watching at home? At every step of the way, where we were there for families, where we were there for workers, where we were there for Canadians, they stand in the way, Mr. Speaker. That's the leader who voted against Canadian. On this side of the House, we believe in Canada. We're going to grow this country. We're going to work for families. We're going to protect the worker. We're going to build Canada, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Prime Minister didn't just break his promises on food, also on housing. He said he'd double home building. But today, a report out from the Missing Middle shows that housing starts are down 34% across 34 Ontario municipalities. Condo starts down 51%. Yet the Prime Minister goes ahead with a Liberal industrial carbon tax on the steel, aluminum, glass, and other inputs required to build homes. It is a tax on homes, all while he hides his millions of dollars in a Bermuda tax haven. Why does he hide his money abroad while taxing homes here in Canada?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the Leader of the Opposition and Conservatives actually cared about affordable housing, they would have voted for the budget with $13 billion for affordable housing. Mr. Speaker, they could have voted for $1 billion to fight homelessness and build supportive housing. They could. These Conservatives stalled the first-time home buyers GST break since June. They have no credibility on affordable housing, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the oil agreement between the Liberals and Alberta is a betrayal of the climate. Canada is abandoning the global fight for the environment. That is what the Liberal MP for Laurier-Sainte-Marie confirmed yesterday on Tout le monde en parle, a TV show. I quote, "If we're honest with Canadians, we can no longer achieve our 2030 targets with the recent announcements. It's simply not possible." Mr. Speaker, will the Liberals be as honest as the MP and confirm to Quebecers and Canadians that they have absolutely no intention of meeting their targets? The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House. Mr. Speaker, the agreement from last week is a major piece of progress for climate change and the environment in Canada. Carbon capturing, new connections for renewable energies throughout Western Canada, nuclear energy, a clear process with clear conditions imposed upon the province of Alberta, Mr. Speaker. This is a major step forward for our environment. The rules are clear, and Alberta is now committed to putting forward its own environment action plan. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. I don't understand how they're trampling their values. Mr. Speaker, the oil agreement from Alberta positions Canada as one of the world's worst environmental polluters for decades to come. It confirms that the Liberals have sold out all of their principles to the same oil companies that are majority shareholders of the Conservative Party. Mr. Speaker, it's not surprising that there are Conservative defectors among the Liberals now, because they have the same policies. The real question is, why aren't more Liberals following the example of the member for Lorient-Sainte-Marie and resign? Why are they not resigning? The honourable member. Mr. Speaker, the people of British Columbia aren't saying that they need a Bloc Québécois to defend them. They have a clear path forward. We're creating jobs for BC. We're creating opportunities for BC. We are collaborating with First Nations in BC. We are creating renewable energy projects. We are creating electricity networks. Mr. Speaker, British Columbia is a great winner when it comes to the creation of opportunities, jobs and major projects. We were voted in to build Canada strong, and that is what we will do. The honourable member for Jonquière. Mr. Speaker, Quebecers did not vote for climate betrayal. Many of them even voted Liberal out of fear of the Conservatives. Today, the Liberals are betraying them with a Conservative oil deal with Alberta. Quebecers elected 44 Liberal MPs, and they are now being betrayed. Alberta elected 2, and its wildest, oiliest dreams are coming true. So we must ask the question again. What is the point of voting for Quebec MPs who don't even defend Quebec's interests? The Honourable Minister for Industry. Mr. Speaker, the 44 MPs from Quebec are proud to defend this government, and we will defend the interests of Quebecers because in the last election, Quebecers told us very clearly that they wanted us to protect them with regards to what is happening in the States. Given the current geopolitical climate that is ever-changing, given that the States also made decisions with regards to energy, we must be able to be sovereign with our energy. And that's why we've made this decision to have a strong agreement with Alberta.
Honourable member for Thornhill.
Once upon a time in Canada, you could work hard, earn a decent living, and build a better life. In a decade of Liberal policy, that bargain has been blown to pieces. A CTV report this weekend showed that even families earning $200 grand are being driven out of Toronto because they can't afford a basement rental, a home, or anything else. Last year, 35,000 households fled the GTA, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Is move somewhere cheaper the new official government slogan of these Liberals for Canadians who can't afford to stay in their homes?
Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, well, it's hypocrisy to hear this from the Conservatives. All of a sudden, they're concerned about affordable housing.